concrete walls in several buildings.
Israel claims it's wiped out the headquarters of Iran's elite Quds military unit. The conflict between Israel and Iran won't be the only one that comes up at the G7 summit of world leaders beginning today in Canada. CBS's Nancy Cordes is traveling with President Trump in Alberta.
They want to talk about the flailing peace talks between Ukraine and Russia and the ongoing uncertainty surrounding President Trump's tariffs, with a lot of the world leaders who are attending this summit still seeking trade deals with the United States.
Just in from Washington, the Supreme Court says it will hear arguments from a faith-based pregnancy center in New Jersey. It's challenging a state investigation alleging it misled people into thinking its services included abortion referrals. At least 5 deaths are now blamed on flash flooding triggered by torrential rain in parts of West Virginia. Several people are missing. CBS's Tom Hansen is in Fairmont, where they've declared a state of emergency now.
There is an apartment complex here where the facade has essentially toppled over, people's belongings just dumped out of this building, their lives turned upside down in a matter of minutes.
The Dow is up 442 points. NASDAQ ahead more than 1%. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks. But who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's your good boy? Oh, who's your? Oh,
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit.
When the weather turns bad, minutes, even seconds matter.
This is an early heads up for southern Rutherford County.
Rutherford Weather brings you live radar and expert meteorologist insight, giving you the early heads up when storms threaten.
A lot of areas are going to see some impacts from this storm.
From analysis to live camera views, we keep you informed before, during, and after the storm.
I think the vast majority of the hail with this now is going to be quarter to perhaps golf ball size.
Rutherford Weather. Stay ahead of the storm.
We're the Good Neighbor Network. FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro. FM 100.5 Smyrna. Audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Welcome into the Roundtable, WGNS. I'm Andy Herzier, president and founder of First Shot Foundation. In with me, a special guest, Nick McDevitt, head coach at Middle Tennessee State. Nick, we go back a long ways. You, like your son, little Cooper, I call him Coop, grew up going to my basketball camp when I was an assistant coach at UNC Asheville because I had to run it. Nobody else seems to want to run camp but me. But I got to know you as little Nick. You're now a full-grown man with 2 beautiful children, a beautiful wife. We share a lot in common. Grew up in small town, went to UNC Asheville, graduated, which is another, not a norm, right? I mean, you think back, I think back, I had 6 guys that lost, you know, due to eligibility, were done. I was one of 6 that graduated. That's a norm back then. What has changed that now we see so many athletes really getting their degree, which is really, I think, beneficial?
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I mean, at the end of the day, you still want to make sure. College athletics has changed so much. I mean, in the last 5 years, but really, you think about the last 12 months, it's really a different business, a different entity than it used to be. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad different, but it is different. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that your student athletes are still graduating. And for us, with our basketball program, we have now had 20 consecutive years where our seniors have graduated. The players on our team who were in their last year of eligibility have graduated. And that's really important to us. You know, the names on the back of the jerseys, And the faces, they change a lot more frequently than they used to. And that's just the nature of the transfer portal and NIL. Those two things have freed up the market, so to say, and have caused the turnover on your rosters to grow exponentially. But at the end of the day, you're still trying to develop team culture and have a winning product and a winning team on the floor and graduate your players.
So I would think with all the transferring of students, the loss of hours, how in the world are you making that up? I mean, because from one school to the next, not everything's transferring.
Yeah, that's one of the issues, and that's why sometimes you see some guys that kind of hit the portal, so to say, and then you see them going back to their school. And in a lot of cases, and not all, but there are several out there where all of a sudden they hit the portal, have opportunities because of athletics and their athletic skill set and abilities, but all of a sudden they don't meet progress towards degree at the next institution. And so they look at another place that's interested in them. They want to go there. The school wants them, but you just can't figure a way to have enough hours for that individual to transfer to the next institution and them still be able to get a degree from there in the timely fashion that the NCAA sets. So there is a little bit of that where student athletes end up going back to their school, pulling their name out of the portal and staying. And a lot of times it's because they can't get themselves eligible, not because of bad grades necessarily, just enough of those classes just aren't going to transfer.
I mean, let's talk about it. You and I are UNC Asheville grads. We had over 24 hours of humanities. Let's just be honest. There's not very many other schools that, if you're not going to another liberal arts school,
that'll take those classes.
Going to take those classes.
They're essentially going to be marked as like world civilization, world history type classes. And if all of a sudden you've got that many at UNC Asheville, that's a good thing. When you look to transfer somewhere else, they may not take all of those. And the good thing about where we are here at Middle Tennessee is being a very large public institution, we offer so many classes. So chances are what you're taking somewhere else, we have it too here at Middle Tennessee. But it's the flip isn't always there. All of a sudden you could transfer from a Middle Tennessee, let's say to a UNC Asheville, a small public liberal arts institution of 2,800, 3,000 students. They may not offer the classes that you've taken at Middle Tennessee at that institution, and now you wouldn't meet progress towards degree. So it's those kind of things that are new nuances to college athletics that didn't always rear their heads all the time, with the old model.
So, for us, when I was back in the day, assistant coach at UNC Asheville, the only kids that we would be able to recruit out of a junior college were kids that were already qualified, because if they graduated, most of the time we couldn't match up the hours. And so what you're saying, because you're at middle, those hours are so much easier to match. So now you can recruit, your recruiting pool not only went high school, now it's gone junior college, now it's gone transfer portal.
Yeah, I think we're at such a good spot here at Middle Tennessee in this new landscape of college athletics because of exactly what you're saying, because of the shifting that is going on from school to school by the student athletes. You want to be at a spot where we can take any high school, we can take high school students, we can take junior college students, we can take four-year transfers. We're attractive to those players. You think we're at a spot where we can get up transfers, so to say, where you're at maybe a Division II or a low major Division I school. Well, Middle Tennessee is a step, maybe 2 or 3 steps up from where you are, and you want to showcase that you can play on that level. But also we're our facilities, the size of our school, Murfreesboro, the mid-state area, you can also get Power 4 transfers. A guy that's been at in Auburn, Alabama, Kentucky, North Carolina, Duke, Ohio State, and they're not transferring from that level to a small school kind of in the middle of nowhere with not a lot to do. We have an attractive situation here, and it's still at a level to where they feel as well that they are showcasing their talents still on a high level. We just got a transfer, Jobin Carter from Penn State. He was a All-State Player of the Year caliber player in high school, goes to Penn State. Just wanted to play more than he was this past season as a freshman at Penn State. So he's now with us. Well, it's a level at which he still feels like this is a high level, which it is. You know, last year Conference USA was ranked the 8th best league in the country in the net and the 9th best league in the country in KenPom. And when you talk about being a top 10 league in the country, it's a tough league. And so it's an attractive one, an attractive situation in this new landscape where you want to be able to be attractive to so many different kinds and levels of student athletes.
So let's talk about recruiting. Let's talk about specifically high school. When you're looking at a high school kid, are you looking at him differently than you did 5 years ago? And talk about the differences and why.
Well, used to you were trying to project where can this young man be? Can he help us as a freshman? And where might he be in 2 or 3 years? Well, now it's somewhat foolish to think you're going to have that young man in 2 or 3 years. So you're trying to project, yes, where is his ceiling? How can he develop? Where can he develop? Can he play at this level? But also you're trying to project, all right, well, here's what our roster will look like when he's a sophomore. Here's what our roster may look like when he's a junior. You don't know what your roster is going to look like the next season anymore. Also, to that point, Andy, is Conference USA is a tough league, as we just mentioned, to be young. To think that you can have a boatload of freshmen playing for you in one of the top 10 leagues in the country and be a championship caliber program is a tall ask, a tough ask. So for us, we want to make sure that we're sprinkling in freshmen, not losing 6 or 7 players and replacing them with 6 or 7 freshmen. You can't lose 4th and 5th year seniors and replace them with freshmen. You just went from really old to really young in a hurry. And in some leagues, that's okay. You know, perhaps if you're in the SEC or, you know, the ACC or the Big 12, well, those freshmen, they may be NBA draft picks. They may be All-Americans. You know, Cooper Flagg this past year. Well, yeah, he's a freshman. He's pretty daggum good. He's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah, your number 1 pick, but also when he was at USA Basketball, he was holding his own with the pros.
That's right. You think about the year before, Brandon Ingram down at, Brandon Ingram, the young man.
Brandon Miller.
Thank you, Brandon Miller, down at Alabama. So 2 years in a row, you think about, younger guys that they can help you win in your league. Well, it's hard to get those guys in Conference USA and at Middle Tennessee.
So when you look now, let's do the next one, junior college. Do you look at them now differently than you did 5 years ago also?
Yeah, you're really you're trying to find the balance of talent, but also meeting expectations. If you were to have 15 guys on your roster, which now you can have 15 scholarship players, and every single one of them are 4-year college transfers, and they're all juniors and seniors, you're probably going to have some really tough chemistry issues and team morale issues in your locker room, because all of those guys are coming to you expecting to play. They're either leaving another institution to come to you at a higher level and showcase that I can still perform at this level. I was playing 30 minutes a game at my previous place, but I want to show that I can do it at this level. Or they're coming to you because they were playing 8 or 10 minutes a game at a high level, and they're coming to you because they want to play more. And so now if you've got 14 or 15 guys and they all expect to play heavy minutes, I think you're going to have big trouble. So what you're trying to figure out is who are we counting on to really play those kind of minutes? Is this junior college young man, is he coming after just 1 year of JUCO, so he's a sophomore? Here in comes a freshman. They want to play, but there also isn't that high-level expectation of playing 30 minutes. And so you've got to be able to manage, and it is this way now. you've got to be able to manage the minutes and the money. Do you have the NIL money, the scholarship dollars, and now the NIL money to attract the right balance on your team?
So I go to junior college, come out 2 years later. My clock now just starts. I'm just now a freshman at a 4-year institution. I got 4 more years of.
Not 4, but your junior college years. One of them you can get back, and so you're not burning both years, and so the junior college years aren't really an unattractive way to spend the first couple of years of your college career. And used to your point, you were burning those years of eligibility at junior college. And it's hard right now because of what we were just talking about for high school students to get recruited. It really is. And I tell a lot of high school coaches, but parents that ask, if somebody is recruiting you as a high school student athlete right now, they really like you. I mean, they really like you a lot because everybody's trying to find a way to stay old. And so if they're recruiting you before your senior season starts and really you have a, quote, committable offer from a school, then they really like you, because what they're really wanting to do, what everybody's trying to do, is in the spring find ways to get old with the junior college guys and the 4-year transfers, and then fill out the rest of your roster, the need areas, with some high school talented players. And so if you're able to commit in the fall as a high school student somewhere, then that institution really likes you.
So I look at it, it almost has made the AAU and the summer circuit almost obsolete a little bit.
It has not obsolete, but I understand the point that you're making, and I agree with it. It is not quite as crazy gung-ho to get them, recruit them, sit on every single game. Now, some, yes, you are. The guys that you really want, you're still sitting on those young men, being in every game, as you know how that works, making sure you're being seen so that young man and his parents and his AAU coaches and anybody else associated with them see you at all the games. At the same time, what you're also doing is seeing who's out there, making sure that you get eyeballs on as many players as possible so that a year later, if and really when they hit the transfer portal as college student athletes, you know who they are. You can compare what you saw them as a 17-year-old on the summer AAU circuit and now what you just saw him do as a freshman in a different league or as a sophomore in a different league, and see what that growth looks like. Sometimes you also recruit some young men knowing you may not get them, but if they go somewhere else and they're not real happy, whether it's too far from home or too close to home, or they don't get enough minutes, or it's not a high enough level, you've already kind of laid the groundwork in the early recruiting process a year ago when they were in high school.
It's crazy to me, but you've kind of touched on a little bit on how you're going to recruit out of that portal. So for the most part, is it people that players that you've already seen, already have had your eyes on, and walk us through the process of a transfer kid. Go from that kid playing his way up, and then we'll go, and you can answer how they're at these Power 4, bigger universities, whatever quote you want to call them, and why you recruit them back.
Well, you certainly want to, when you see young men that you recruited coming out of high school, or perhaps you recruited him out of the portal the year before and you didn't get him, or do you still have those good relationships? When they chose somewhere else, did it end well? Did you enjoy the recruiting process, recruiting that young man, his family, his coaches, and you didn't get him? He went somewhere else. When it ended well, so to say, if they hit the portal again, you want to pick right back up, and we've done that a couple times. anytime you've recruited a young man out of high school, same thing. He chose somewhere else. You kind of keep your eye on him just because you got close with them and their parents and everybody else associated with them. So there's the nature to follow the box score a little bit, see how the young man's playing, and were we right, so to say? Not necessarily you're not trying to do anything goofy or tamper with the kid and try to talk him out of playing, but was our evaluation of him correct? We thought he could come here and play a lot. He chose a similar level with the other school. How's he playing over there? And so you look at that kind of stuff, but also you try to keep an eye on the young men that transfer out of particular leagues or particular situations and transfer whether to you or in your league, and how do they perform? You know, this all.
Give an example.
Here's an all-conference player coming out of the OVC, and he's transferred into Conference USA. What did he look like? Who did he play for, and how did he perform? Here's a young man that transferred out of the Big South, and now he's in Conference USA, or out of the Southern Conference. Here's an 8-point scorer out of the American. He came over to Conference USA. What did he do? Here's a 14-point scorer out of the OVC. He came to Conference USA. How did he perform? And so a year later, when a similar profile pops up in the portal, you kind of can project a little bit of what that's going to look like. Was he a starter on a really bad team? You know, we tell our players a lot like, well, the worst team in the country has a best player. That doesn't mean that young man is good. It doesn't mean that he's not. I mean, Jalen Counter this past year, he was a terrific player for us here at Middle. But the year before, he played for a team that won 5 ball games. And so you're trying to figure out, is he really is he a good player, or is he just one of the best players on a bad team? Those can be two different things.
Well, we're going to take a break and be right back with Coach Nick McDevitt.
Looking for great deals on...
For the love of Tennessee at dawn. For the love of the fight. For the love of having nowhere else you'd rather be. For the love of Tennessee. Travel safe.
Insurance should be simple, not complicated. That's why at Rayburn Insurance, Agent Rick Hull cuts through the jargon and helps you understand your options clearly. He's committed to finding the right coverage that fits your unique needs and budget. Their team has been a trusted partner in the community since 1973. Ready to make insurance easy? Get with Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency. He's ready to help you get the protection you deserve.
This is Chip Walters, and I'm honored to be your 2024 MTAR Realtor of the Year. I'm with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, and like many of you, I've seen the real estate market shift and change. People often ask, Chip, what's really going on? Well, that's a great question, and I believe in answering with solid, factual data. So let's cut through some of the noise. I invite you to reach out. Let's have a conversation about your real estate goals and the current market trends in your neighborhood. You can find all my contact information at choosechip.net.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey, more like Mirajoyed. That Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at your local retailer.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
When is the right time to move to Adams Place? I have enjoyed Adams Place much better than living in my house after my wife passed away. What you're doing is you're getting people that you can interact with and have fun. Consider coming to Adams Place.
Hi, this is Terry Deal at Adams Place. Call me for more information about Adams Place. Phone 615-904-9111. Adams Place, across from Walmart.
Good Neighbor Events is brought to you by the law offices of John Day, AmeriCare Pest Control, and Old National Bank.
This is a paid legal ad.
Hi, this is John Day of the law offices of John Day. For more than 30 years, my team and I have worked hard to help injured people throughout Middle Tennessee. Over that time, we've helped thousands of people get the legal help they need when they've needed it the most. And if we're not able to help or aren't the right lawyer for you, we'll do the best to point you in the right direction. If you've been injured, call the law offices of John Day for a free consultation. And remember, there's no fee unless we win your case.
Especially during the summer fun months, WGNS encourages you to shop local. Let's patronize our local family businesses. Would you like to get fit? Zumba and yoga classes are underway at SportsCom. Plus, metabolic burn as well as Tai Chi and yoga classes are at the Patterson Community Center. Don't forget, the 17th annual Boats Day is Saturday, June 21st. That's not this week, that's next week over at Jefferson Springs Recreation Area in Smyrna. That's Saturday, June 21st. And walk-ups are welcome. Here's something that is this weekend. Don't miss the Juneteenth celebration, 10 until 4 Saturday at Bradley Academy Museum and Cultural Center. We're still critically low on blood. Please give the gift of life to the Red Cross. Make an appointment to give blood at a time that fits your schedule. Maybe you're being challenged by a new smartphone. Head over to a branch of the Rutherford County Library System. There's someone there who'll help you, and it's free. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
Few scattered showers and storms at times this afternoon with cloudy skies, a high in the upper 80s. Tonight, chance for rain and storms, cloudy, a low near 70. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS.
Currently, it's 73.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Are you ready to take control of your energy usage and save money? Download the MyMTE app to track your energy consumption, pay your bill, and even report outages right from your phone. It's free and available now in iOS and Android.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Welcome back into the Roundtable in WGNS. I'm Andy Herzer, founder and president of First Shot. Man, Nick, it's just, to me, Coach, it's just so changing. We talked about playing your way up. Talk a little bit about playing, going in, picking out of the Power 5 or equal or a little bit maybe better league, Mountain West. Talk about it. I mean, how difficult is it?
Yeah, it's gotten increasingly more difficult, mainly because of the money. Now at the Power 4 level, there are, 8, 10, 12, all the way up to $20 million rosters. And so there are guys that aren't playing a ton, 10th or 12th guy on the roster getting 10th or 12th minutes, still getting $400,000. For $500,000 to be that you are the 10th highest paid guy on an SEC roster, making $400,000 or $500,000 next year. That was the case with some this year. And so now you think back over the last 10 or 12 years here at Middle, a LaRon Dindy, Nick King, Ja'Cory Williams, some of the all-time greats that have been the so-called transfer down. Those guys are getting increasingly hard. It's going to get increasingly hard for those young men and their families to make that kind of decision, is to, I'm not playing quite as much as I want, but if I'm here for 4 years and they're paying me $500,000 to be the 10th man, well, that's $2 million.
So is every year a renegotiation of the money?
Pretty much. It is.
So in other words, if you're the 10th, 12th guy, I'm sitting over there.
Are my minutes and my money going to go up next year? And if not, I'm going to look around. And so
it's going to decrease, isn't it? Even at the Power, they're not going to pay a guy that's getting no minutes.
Depends if he's getting no minutes and he's no problem, and you have that kind of money, then it's worth the investment. Here's a talented young man. If we put him in the game, he's not going to hurt us. And for the money that we have, he's not that expensive. And so you kind of know the problems of the guy that's in-house. You might be inviting worse problems with a new face in that same spot, that same role. So sometimes, yeah, it's worth that given the new dynamics of college athletics.
So with some of the court order settlements that have come down, how are they going to manage? There's $22.5 million for each school. And if so, here I am, a business that wants to pay your best player $500,000. Can he take that money outside of it?
Yes, but it has to meet. There are different standards that have to be met if the money's coming from in-house versus outside of the walls of your athletic department. Meaning, one has to meet what's considered fair market value. You know, if myself, I go to play for somebody in Idaho, come from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and they want to give me $5 million at the local car dealership, are you really bringing that much more business as a young man from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, playing out in Idaho who may or may not be playing that much? Are you really worth that dollar figure? So that if that's coming from outside the walls of the athletic department and the university, that has to meet fair market value. And obviously that kind of dollar figure, now that's the far end of the spectrum,
right?
But that wouldn't meet the test. But from in-house, now you're having to have systems in place where you are essentially, it's payroll. You know, do you have the systems, the contracts with the contract office? Do those meet standard? What kind of language do you want in your contracts as the men's basketball program differentiated from women's basketball, from football, from baseball? Because it's got to all be kind of a baseline test, but the language from program to program, even at the same university, is going to be different. So the penalties for, say, missing class, you may want that in yours. It's this program, well, you may not over here. Not all the players are going to sign the same contracts either. And so that it's very much more like a pro system in that regard. There are sports, there are athletic, like men's basketball, because of the money that's involved right now, there are players out there that they all have agents, but some are legit agents. It's not, a family friend. It's somebody that has clients, pro clients, other really good players at other schools. And so they're going to go through kind of fine-tooth comb your contracts. And so do you have those systems in place at your university to handle that? That's the new wave, new era that we're in right now.
So what systems have to be in place here at Middle? Are most of them all have agents? I know the European kids probably do.
Sure.
Right.
They all do now.
They all do now.
They all do now. Now you just want to make sure that your folks in-house have the ability to cut the checks and get the money to the players in the right fashion, done the right way. You have a contract office. Your legal team has put together language and contracts that meet standard, that's easy to understand for the young man and his representation, whether it's his parents or a grouping of his parents and family and his agent, that's easy to understand. You have to have those in place. But you've also you just have to have an organization that is well suited going forward. You have to have it on your own program. You see now football teams, particularly because you have so many players. When you're talking about 100+ athletes, you need a general manager, somebody that's what they're working on full time, making sure this young man got paid on time, that it was the right dollar amount, that his contract, he hasn't done anything in his contract that voids it. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it now.
Wow. You need a law degree. Nick, so when you've figured out some of this, Middle's figured out. So within your league, Conference USA, if you're in the top 10, that tells me there's a lot of likeness money, name and likeness money available in your league, or pretty much. So where do we figure in on it? Is it middle of the pack? Are we in the upper echelon, or are we in the bottom of the likeness? Or can you not want to talk about it?
Well, it depends on who you're comparing yourself to. Obviously, our league is not going to have the money that the Power 4 leagues have. What you want to make sure that you do have is you're not getting beat by your colleagues, the guys across the court from you, the teams that are going to be in your league and on your schedule. And so really when you think about Conference USA and Middle Tennessee is where do we stack up with the other group of 5? And that's where we've got to make sure that we are remaining competitive, because with the rev share, the American, the Atlantic 10, which is a non-football league, the Mountain West, the WCC, the West Coast Conference, those are big media rights, revenue share universities and leagues. And so it's imperative, if we are going to remain a top 10 league, as we mentioned earlier, you have to be towards the top and very, very competitive with those level of conferences and those teams. If you're not, then you're going to fall behind, because there are teams and schools and lower leagues that have big money, like millions of dollars just for men's basketball, that they're in a 15th place level league. For instance, the CAA this past year, looking at the net, they were the 20th ranked conference in the country out of 30.
Who's in that CAA?
College of Charleston, UNCW. Those teams have multi-million-dollar rosters. But they are, when you compare it to that doesn't mean that whole league has that. They don't. When you look at the other 10 or 12 schools in that league, they don't have that kind of money. But that's also why you see UNCW and College of Charleston at the top of the standings right now, and why they're going to stay there is because they're able to go compete with schools in leagues much higher than theirs right now, but their facilities and their NIL budget says that there isn't a difference between us and you. And that's where we have to make sure that we remain in those same conversations and at that same level, because down the road there will be another shift in conference realignment, because there are some big leagues that their media rights deals are coming up in the next 3 or 4 years. And when those come up, there's going to be some shifting of schools. The SEC, the Big 12, the Big 10, the ACCs is the furthest out. But all those other leagues, the Big East, they're in the next 3, 4, 5 years, when those media rights deals expire and the new one comes in place, we all have to be putting ourselves in position between now and then to find the best home for our institution, because you don't want to be without a chair when the music stops. And the music will stop, but there will be musical chairs again, a big one in the next several years. And part of that is, what do your facilities look like? What are you spending with your NIL? How do your teams travel? What does your attendance look like? What's your following on social media? Do you fit the profile of what we're looking for at this league?
So where does Middle have to improve in all of it, Nick?
We've just got to keep improving in all those areas, and we are. You look at the Student Athlete Performance Center that it should be done in the next 6 or 8 weeks. That's a big step to where when this happens, this being the realignment, who knows what that'll look like in 3 or 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, whenever it is. But when they come onto your campus, they need to feel like, man, these guys love athletics, and they're big time. You know, look at the Murphy Center and the renovations that have happened. That's what you want to have taken place in these next 3, 4, 5 years. Look at this tennis facility. Look at this football stadium. Our baseball team. Go out to the Grove and with our golf facility. Here's the way these guys travel. Let's look at what they're spending with NIL. That kind of stuff is what will determine whether another league is going to invite you to be a part of them. It's like your budget sheet, your plan when you in business. Like you can't do the things you say you're going to do. But if you can show that here's who we are and here's where we're headed, that's the position you want to be in down the road.
All right, so now I want to shift and talk. We've talked too much business for me. You've already overwhelmed me on this Monday morning, young man. Let's talk about your team.
There we go.
You know, something that we really love. You know, we love the game, and we love coaching kids, both of us. So talk about the kids that are coming back, and then let's talk about your new ones.
Yeah, we'll end up with 15 when we're all said and done. We've got 6 returning players, and we'll have 9 new. We've got 8 new now. 6 of those new are on campus. 1 more will be here Wednesday. Hopefully the other will be here in the next week or so. So pretty soon we'll have 14 guys on campus with 1 scholarship left to give. And with that one right now, we're just kind of looking for best available. You know, we feel really good about the guys that are on our roster and on our campus right now. Our returnees, you think about from a 3-4-5 perspective, Kamari Lands, the transfer from Arizona State and Louisville, was playing well before he hurt his knee in the Tennessee game, missed about 12, 14 games, then came back, wasn't completely healthy, finished the season fairly strong, but you know, he's a big body wing. You think about Torrey Austin and Chris Loof at the 4 and 5. Those 2 young men are working really hard, putting on weight, putting on strength in the weight room. I really like where those young men are headed. Alec Oglesby, a terrific shooter, just had a shoulder injury last year, so didn't play very much. Trey Green is another returnee that's really going to help us. You know, you think about those young men and the balance of our new guys. We feel really good. Our workouts have been positive. You know, that they come in, they work hard. I think the new players have meshed and gelled really well with our returning players. But talking about returning players, and we may talk about this when we come back from the break, but Jared Hall from Lebanon may be a surprise. I have loved his workouts over the last month. He's put on a lot of strength and weight. He's about 220 pounds right now and looks terrific in a uniform and in a workout. You know, I think he may surprise some folks this year.
Well, again, we're going to take a quick break and be right back with head coach Nick McDevitt.
First shot. Let's stay in tonight. We're spending way too much money going out to eat. Could I get 500 in reds?
500 on the table.
Just be kind, okay? $8 for a couple avocados? What's the world coming to?
Place your bets.
There's no way it's going to hit black 4 times in a row.
Good luck to you, sir.
You gotta be kidding me.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers, plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us, plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Dozens of vendors, one local tradition.
Plump, juicy tomatoes.
The Farmers Market, every Tuesday and Friday, 7 a.m. to 1.
Pick fresh this morning.
At Lane Agro Park in Murfreesboro.
Farm fresh eggs.
At 315 John R. Rice Boulevard.
50 years strong. Come see why.
Not only do we sell jewelry, but we also repair it as well as appraise it. Anything purchased from Bell Jewelers, you receive a complimentary appraisal to give to your insurance company. But even if you have a piece of jewelry that didn't necessarily come from us, that's okay. We have 4 GIA certified appraisers on staff. We appraise it on site, so you know exactly what you have. So come see us at Bell Jewelers, 821 Northwest Broad Street, across from Toots.
Premier 6 Theater on Broad in Jackson Heights.
Let's all go to the movies.
Check out what's showing at murfreesboromovies.com. Popcorn popped fresh daily.
Movies at the good old premises.
Premier 6 on Broad in Jackson Heights.
In retirement, it's all about income. Your money, making money, and you're not spending down your principal. That's the way we do it at Retirement Income Solutions. So if you're spending down your principal or your money's not making money, keeping you ahead of inflation, check us out today at risolutions.net, risolutions.net. And make sure to join us Saturdays at noon and Sunday afternoons at 1 for Retirement Income Solutions Radio with Nathan Cox and Lindsay Cotter.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Welcome back into the Roundtable, WGNS. I'm Andy Herzer, founder and president of First Shot Foundation. Nick, we were talking players coming back. Let's talk about your 15 new guys, it'll seem like to everybody, right? No, not that many. I think 9.
End up being 9.
End up being 9.
Yep.
So let's talk about the ones that are on campus that you know. Can you talk about the guys that you believe will be here within the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We've got obviously with 8 new players, we've got really new guys at every spot. We've got 2 new point guards. Obviously, we lost Cam Weston and Jalen Counter, but Sean Smith, a transfer from Western Illinois, and Javin Carter from Alcoa, Tennessee, transfer from Penn State. Those 2 young men have really come in, and I said this before we went on break, but I just like the way they work, the way they go about their business. There's no fluff. You have an hour workout, and they're gonna go for an hour. It's not they're out there for an hour and they gave you what they could for 30 minutes and they're just kind of going through the motions the other half hour. Well, that's, you're getting behind the competition. You're stunting your own growth. They come in and go about their business, putting on strength and weight. You think about guys at the wing spot. Javin's cousin, Savon Weichel. We didn't know that they were cousins, but we already had Javin on campus. And Savon is a Division II transfer, but played high school ball over in Smyrna. And we reached out to him, and he says, Coach, one of my cousins is going to play for you next year. Well, you and I both have heard that a million times. And then you ask, who's your cousin? And it's usually a name you've never heard of. Like, well, that young man isn't going to play for us next year. I'm not sure who you're talking about. But he says, Javin Carter. I said, is that your cousin or like your real cousin? Your boy? Oh, yeah, we're cousins. And so we were able to get Savon to transfer here as well, and he's been a pleasant surprise as well. I mean, I don't say that to say we didn't think he was good enough or just took him because he was Javin's cousin. We liked him, but he's athletic, he's strong, he's tough.
What are his, besides athletic and strong?
He's a 6'4", 6'5", 210, maybe not quite that big. He's probably 200 pounds now, but he hopes on his way to being a 205, 210. But he's just has good skills with the basketball, shot 34% from three last year. It's a double-figure scorer already in college, so albeit at a lower level, but he's got the scars, the warts, so he's been out there. And, I like what he's doing. Chavez Ambrose is a young man from Memphis, Tennessee, Bartlett High School, went to Walter State Junior College for a couple years. He is now transferred to us, just long, lanky, and, you got
just like you like him.
Yes, we do like those kind of guys. And Jax Howard is a young man, point guard from the Webb School. He holds his own in putting on good strength. He got sick towards the end of his high school season last year at the Webb School and lost some weight, but he's quick, he's competitive.
Train that young man
yes,
a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what a great family.
Jeff
is there's just a awesome family and a local family. And again, one of those things, you got a Smyrna kid now. You got a kid out of Shelbyville. Or Shovel, however you guys in the South want to say it. My fault, I'm from Indiana. But I look at it and I like that a little bit.
Absolutely. We love, all things being equal, you'd rather have local talent. You recruit your backyard. And we've got a bunch of guys on this year's roster. We'll end up having 5 from Tennessee. And when you think about a third of our roster being from this state and several from our backyard, Smyrna, Shelbyville, Lebanon with Jared Hall. And so we've got 3 just from the surrounding area, and we really like that about our roster. We also think about MJ Whitlock. He was first-team junior college All-American, played out at Cali Junior College for Reggie Scurry. Reggie is now an assistant coach. He was a player for us and a GA for us. He went back to Cali, where he also played junior college basketball, to be an assistant. And MJ Whitlock is transferring to us from Cali. Averaged about 17 a game this year, can really shoot it. He's a 44% three-point shooter last year in junior college, averaging 17 a game. And I think between he and Oglesby and Trey Green and the way Kamari Lands was shooting at the end of the year, we really are adding a lot of shooting to the team, guys that can really spread the floor for you and create driving lanes for your point guards.
Your 2 point guards that you mentioned before, Jax.
Yep.
Good shooters.
You want them, obviously everybody on your roster, you want them to be able to shoot it.
Yeah.
But if your point guards can't shoot it and you're running ball screen action as the opponent, you just go under the ball screen and just let them shoot it. Like they might make 1 or 2, but they can't make enough to beat you. What you want to be able to do is, obviously you want them to really shoot it, but the better, if they could shoot it well enough to where your opponent feels like we can't go under these ball screens all night, or this young man will shoot it and we'll lose. He'll make enough to where we get beat. Then now you've got the ability to create advantage basketball by forcing 2 on the ball with the ball screen action. Let your point guards make plays, and when they got shooters around them and lob threats like Chris Loof, Torrey Austin, Jared Hall, you could start to see some ways you can score the ball.
I won't say where I was at, but there is this young African-American guy that brought his grandson to a game, and all he wants is a Chris Lutz jersey signed by him. Here's I love Big Red. He's just one of those kids that just get better and better and better.
Yeah, he's been great. And as advertised, his prep school coach is a guy that's we've become really good friends over the last several years. The first guy that we got from them, this is at Link Academy out in Missouri, was Teofilo Leonard. And a couple years later, he's calling saying, now this young man's different. He's not T. He's a completely different kind of player. But everything he said about T, he was spot on. And the same has been true with Chris Loof. He's going to come in, work hard, get better, and he has. He's 6'11", 235, 240 pounds now, and has really started to work. We told him in the offseason, like, man, there aren't many guys that would have caused Isam Mustafa to not play 30 minutes a night. you're playing behind one of the best mid-major centers in all of college basketball. I mean, he averaged a double-double. So don't think your 12, 13 minutes a night is any knock on you. You can have a big year next year. And he is completely bought into it, and that's not selling him something. He has held on to that, and I think he could have a really good year for us.
I've always found that the same with big guys. They're either all in or they're just there because they're big.
Correct. That's the thing about Chris is he likes basketball. Some bigs, they're even the guys at the college level, they're playing, but they don't really love it. They just were made to play when they were little because they're the tallest guy in school walking up down the hall, and the youth league coach says, you're playing. And he didn't come sign up. The adults made him play. And then all of a sudden it's 10 or 12 years later and they're still doing it. Chris is not that. He has talent, he has ability, and he likes ball.
All right. We only got a few minutes left. Give us some highlights and the difficulty. Probably now is as difficult or maybe even more difficult getting your schedule together.
Oh, man. The scheduling part is really becoming increasingly more difficult because of the net. The big schools want to manipulate their schedule, and they can because of the money. They play quad ones, which is they all play each other, so that whoever wins, it's a really good bump, and if you get beat, it's not that bad. It doesn't hurt you in the public eye or now in the numbers. Or they buy bad teams and just beat them up and run up their numbers. Their field goal percentages look good, all that. We don't really fit in either one of those categories. We don't have the money to go buy our schedule, and the big boys don't really want to buy us. Now, you can get bought. Like next year we're playing Houston. Well, Houston's going to be preseason number one team in the country. You can get a team that's going to be a Final Four caliber team or an Elite Eight caliber team to play you, but you're not going to play the lower end out of those Power Four leagues at schools like Middle Tennessee anymore. So getting those games is increasingly difficult for us, but because of that and other schools like us, you end up playing each other. So the good mid-majors aren't attractive because you may not be able to other people. The really good mid-majors aren't attractive to others, so now you end up playing each other. So that's why it's us and UAB playing each other, Belmont, Evansville. We're in a MTE this year down the Cayman Islands with Murray State, George Washington, and McNeese State, who beat Clemson in the NCAA tournament. And so
won't be the same team, I don't think.
Well, their NIL
money
is still there, and so when that's still there, you've got a really good chance to put together a really good roster. And so when you think about Houston, UAB, Belmont, Evansville, the teams we just mentioned, we'll probably end up playing one more, or not probably, we will end up playing another Power 4 level team, probably a top 10, top 15 caliber opponent. And when you start to put that together, plus a 20-game Conference USA schedule this year with the addition of Delaware and Missouri State, it soon you've
just made that league a little tougher.
Man, you've just rattled off 27, 28 games that are not easy. And so, it's going to be a challenge, but it'll be a fun one.
You look at it, and I remember Coach Bill Foster once looking at me in the eye and said, "Hey, I hear you're a good young recruiter, but I hear you're also in charge of scheduling." He said that's more important than who you're going to sign.
Everybody would say two biggest things: recruiting and scheduling. Recruiting and scheduling. You want to be able to put together an attractive schedule for your fans, your alumni, but also for prospects. Players want to play in those kinds of games, but you also don't want to play the top 25 teams in the country 25 straight games. That's hard on anybody, and there's a little bit of art and science to it all at the same time.
Well, again, I really appreciate taking an hour out of a busy summer schedule. Wish you the best of luck, and we'll have you back on in the fall if you'll come.
That'll be great. Love it.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.